Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janava Labha Giribharadari. Gopi Janava Labha Giribharadari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa. And Paribraja Pacharya Astotra Satati Simad, the Divine Grace, his compound Charya. Srila Abhasha and Vena Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribraja Pacharya Astotra Satati Simad, the Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavina Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kahao Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Sri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Sri Makunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapanavadviv Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Samata Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the summon devotees. 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 All glories to Sri Gauranga Gauranga. Come on, get it. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyamsata Tujaya Mundirayat Nastapaye Savya Bhadesu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhava Iti Naistike. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, third canto, chapter 17, text 1. Is that what is on the board? 17 text 1? Is that what's on the board?
Yeah, 71. Yeah, 37.
Maitreya Vasha Nisam. Okay. So let's go. Sorry. I got some real bad stuff right now. The title of this chapter is Victory of Reaction over all the directions of the universe. Maitreya Uvacha Nisamyatma Bhuvaj Gitam Karanam Sankayo Jihitaha Tata Sarved Nyawatatma Nyawatanta Triti Vaya Dvakasaha Maitreya Uvacha Nisam Yatma Bhuvagitam Karanam Sankayo Jitaha Tata Salve Nyawatanta Tridivaya Divakasaha Mitreya Hovacha Nisanyatma Bhuvagitam Karanam Sankayojitaha Tata Sadve Nyauhatanta Tridhi Vaya Divokasaha. Someone try. Any ladies to try? So word for word translation done. Translation and purport by Divine Grace ISKCON Acharya Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Maitreya. This sage Maitreya Vacha said, Nisamya, upon hearing Atmabhuva by Brahma, Gitam, explanation, Karanam, the cause, Sankaya, from fear, Ujitaha, freed, Tataha, then, Sarve, all, Nyawatata, returned, Tridivaya, to the heavenly planets. Diva Okasaha, the demigods, who inhabit the higher planets. Translation, Sri Maitreya said, the demigods, the inhabitants of the higher planets, were freed from all fear upon hearing the cause of the darkness explained by Brahma, who was born from Vishnu. Thus, they all returned to their respective planets. Please, kindly responsibly repeat. Sri Maitreya said, the demigods, the inhabitants of the higher planets, were freed from all fear Upon hearing the cause of the darkness explained by Brahma, who was born from Vishnu, thus they all return to their respective planets. Purport. The demigods, who are denizens of the higher planets, are also very much afraid of incidents such as the universe becoming dark. And so they consulted Brahma. This indicates that the entire quality of fear exists for every living entity in the material world. The four principal activities of material existence are eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. The fear element exists also in the demigods. On every planet, even in the higher planetary systems, including the moon and the sun, as well as on this earth, the same principles of animal life exist. Otherwise, why are the demigods also afraid of the darkness? The difference between the demigods and ordinary human beings is that the demigod approach authority, whereas the inhabitants of this earth defy authority. If people will only approach the authority, then every adverse condition in this universe could be rectified. Arjuna was also disturbed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but he approached the authority, Krishna, and his problem was solved. The conclusive instruction of this incident is that we may be disturbed by some material condition, but if we approach the authority who can actually explain the matter, then our problem is solved. The demigods approached Brahma for the meaning of the disturbances, and after hearing from him, they were satisfied and returned home peacefully. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanjana Salakaya Saksodamanitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sajete Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutali Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swam Padantikam Vandiham Sri Gurum Sri Jitapadakalamatam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saha Gana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadveta Sarvaduta Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sirada Krishna Padaya Saha Ganalalita Vishakam Vitamscha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagapati, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namastatu, Tapta Kanchana Gaurange, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vishnabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami. Hari Anchakalpataribhyacha, Kripasanubhyayevacha, Patitanam Pavanam, Vaishnavibhyo Namo. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Sahodata, Gurudaya Puspavanto, Chita Chanatamonam, Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadara, Sri Vasari, Sagora Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale, Samati Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Itinamini, Namaste, Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvisesa, Sonyavadi, Pashata, Disatari. So, in this very text, the demigods were pacified by Lord Brahma, and essential factor here is that matrimony or material rishi is narrating is presenting this narrative or this very pastime to Vidura. No, if this is a common scenario in the Bhagavad Purana, that there is always some dialogue. Two people are discussing. Someone is confused, and the other one is making some clarification. Or someone have some ambiguities, and someone else, the sage, is making some clarifications. And that is the very essence of the pedagogical, the andragogical learning that takes place in the Bhagavatam. There are two ways to study. There are two ways to learn. One is pedagogy, and one is andragogy. Now, in andragogy, the learner is not necessarily dumb or doesn't know anything in the field. He knows, but he wants to get clarification from authorities. Or sometimes he doesn't know anything, he's confused about what is transpiring, and he makes some inquiries from the authority. We find the case of Arjuna and Lord Krishna. So here also the dialogue between Maitreya Muni and Vidura is that of a learning process that we call in the education system andragogy. Andragogy simply, like I mentioned, andragogy simply means adult learning, where the adult, he knows some stuff. He knows some stuff. But no matter what you know, there are certain things you don't know. It's unlike the child in the kindergarten that will matric. Even the child in kindergarten is not a blank slate. They know some stuff. So here, Maitreya is relating the incident, what transpired on this planet when Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha caused so much of disturbances, and Hiranyaksha, especially at the time, was like invisible, unconquerable demon. Again, when someone becomes too powerful, we should understand that they have some empowerment. It may be negative empowerment, but like in this case, Hiranyaksha, he was empowered by the Supreme Lord. He came from the spiritual world. So there's no confusion, there's no surprise that he became so powerful. And even his brother, Hiranyakasipu, the same thing. The both of them were so powerful. So it should be understood that whenever there is some amazing prowess being displayed, there's some empowerment. It may be negative empowerment or positive. And in the positive case, we'll find that Prabhupada is quoting this verse that except someone is empowered, he cannot spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Except someone is empowered, their preaching cannot be extraordinary, they cannot be so successful. So Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha also, they were empowered by the Lord, that no ordinary human being could conquer them. Even the demigods could not conquer them. And so here we're finding in this very text, and in the purport Prabhupada makes it clear how the distinction between the demigods and ordinary human beings. The demigods, they're very pious. So when they do also have challenges, they do also have problems. In fact, the default of material existence is all pervasive, even in the Swaga Loka, even on Brahma Loka. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, and Mituna. It's mentioned in the Hitopadesha 0.25. It's mentioned Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Mitunam Cha, Samaya Metad, Pasubi Naranam, Dharma Hiti Sho, Adi Go, Vise Sho, Dharmena, Hinapas Subi Samana. The very fundamental things that we struggle for, or our defaults: eating, sleeping, fearing or fighting, conflicts, arguments. These are the defaults of material existence. If these things are not there, it means that's not material existence. You're not on this planet. You're not in this universe. You're not in the material universe. You're not in a cosmic creation. If Ahara, Nidra, Baya, Mithuna are not there, these are not part of your defaults, then you are not of this material world. Oh yeah. So even the demigods, this is part of their default. And fearing, specifically mentioned in this very text, and the purport emphasizes how the demigods, when they are afraid, when there is an ambiguity, when they experience some challenges, they seek out solutions from authority. From authority. Now, for ordinary human beings, they have problems. They don't seek out solutions from authority. They may make a propaganda, or rather they will create some disinformation. Our society is just the global society just now is pervaded with a culture of disinformation. People have problems, or people are even seeing there's a problem. So we see this person has committed crime. And disinformation will spread disinformation to confuse the whole mass of people. Like what is going on in America right now in the politics. Everyone else knows that this is what has happened. And people come to spew all types of disinformation. Instead of seeking out ways to resolve the problem, seeking out ways to solve the problem. No, humans, no, we don't want that. I remember when I was a kid, or when I was a teenager, I had this conception that I observed what was going on in society. At that time, I didn't know anything about philosophy. But I observed what goes on in society with my own environment, and I thought, that I was in high school. And I developed this concept that, it seems every human being is like a self-willed lawyer and a developed politician. Why? Because I see that people defend themselves. Even the child in the home, the mother comes and says, you did this. He said, no, mommy. They said, no, mommy. No. They did it. Why? They are afraid of disciplinary actions. We have rare cases when the child, before the mother or the father asks, they start crying and say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. In most cases, they prepare themselves to defend themselves. When the parents come to say, you did it, he said, no, 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 no. If the parents start yelling, then they say, oh, mommy, so you are yelling at me? In America, if your child asks you, you are yelling at me? They know where they are going, okay? They are reminding you that you are committing a crime. Because that is considered an abuse, to yell at anybody. Yeah. So this is what they learn in school. The first thing they learn is abuse. You know, I just got a letter from one family, my friend. And you know what? The husband is a PhD. The wife is a PhD. You know, but the child was born here. Okay, so the wife sent me a message saying she wants to talk with me. I just saw the heading of the message. She just saw that she wants to talk with me because their eldest daughter has filed a petition against them with the CPT, Child Protection Office in ISKCON. So we have to be careful. Okay, this is just a warning. We should not think that the kids are property only. They are also property of the government. And just like the kid, when they do something even wrong, you come to ask them, out of fear, they defend themselves. The parent must be very, this is the word, must be very tactful in dealing with their children in the 21st century. See, these parents, both of them, they're scientists. Yet, an ordinary child, a teenage child, has put some fear in them. Okay? Because in a moment, if your problem goes to the Child Protection Office, you are in problem. You are just in problem because it's being viewed very, very seriously. So the daughter has put fear into the parents right now. So we have fear. Fear is one of our birthrights. It's not a privilege, it's our birthright. A privilege means you choose not to, or whatever. It's one of our defaults. And therefore the Hitopadesha mentions that these our four defaults are also available amongst the lower primates. We are higher primates. But even among the lower primates, these four defaults, Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Mithunam, they are available. Samaya Meta Pasubinaranam. These four activities, they are bestial culture. Bestial culture. Pasubi. It's a bestial culture. If a human being does not utilize their life, or if humans don't utilize their lives for cultivating devotional service to Krishna, this is the only thing that distinguishes us from the lower primates. Inquiries on the Supreme. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. This is the only distinctive feature between humans and lower primates, between humans and the dogs, between humans and the cow, between humans and the pigeons. This is the only difference. Devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Hitopadesha says, if this is not there, we are more or less like, we are not better than the animals. Dharmena hinapa subhi samana. What distinguishes us from the animals is dharma. If dharma is not there, pasubhi nurana. We are animals walking on two legs. It's heavy. It's not me saying it. This is what is there in the Vedic scriptures. Text 0.5 of the Hitopadesha. Prabhupada likes quoting this verse. And therefore, we should understand that, the fear or the fighting that we engage in, that is not the exclusive function of human beings. The eating that we are engaging is not an exceptional function of human life. Fighting or fearing. Look, if you watch, if you're driving, say in the morning or in the evening in some areas like the DC area near our temple, the DC area, you see all these, deers. Deers, they come around. They come around in the fields, in people's compounds. They come around. Walk around. They know nobody will kill them. Even the animals, if they know that there's no cause for fear, they'll come and live with human beings.
But if they know there's a threat, no, you don't see them. Like in Vrindavan, you see the monkeys, they live with people. In fact, they watch you. If you're carrying a banana in your hand, the monkeys in Vrindavan will pounce on you. They beat you up and take the banana. But immediately you carry a stick, they disappear. Fear. We are also prone to be afraid of situations. In fact, human beings, we are afraid of death, just like the animals do. The deer, before they cross the road, they look, left and right. Then they zoom, they go across at a jet speed. They don't move majestically across the road. They run across the road. Have you ever seen a deer cross the road? They move majestically as if you're walking in your sitting room. No. They zoom. Why? They are afraid. Fear. This is the point. Papa mentioned in the purport here. Fearing. So the demigods, these demigods, they were also fearing. But the distinction between the demigods and us, or the demigods and the lower primates, is that when the demigods are afraid of anything, they consult authorities. They consult Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is their authority. We don't have any authority. We think we know everything. We think, no, we are fine. I know this, I know that. We think we are jack of all trade and master of all trade. This is what we think. And this is, I see this a lot in ISKCON. Now, someone stays in this movement, in most cases, someone stays in this movement for, 5 years or whatever, they become like, counselors, they become like parapsychologists, like psychosurgeons. No, everything. Some of our devotees, they claim to be everything. Why? Because if you go have a problem like this and you go and approach them, they will notify you to the appropriate authorities. They start to meddle into things that they don't have an iota of skill in it. Just because we chant Hare Krishna, it doesn't mean that we're omniscient, we know everything. We become parapsychologists, we become psychosurgeons, ophthalmologists and all. No, we may know something about Krishna, but even Krishna, we don't know much about Krishna. We are limited. We are finite, and Krishna is infinite. How will we claim we know everything? How will we not? Why is it that we choose not to take shelter of authorities or refer people to the appropriate specialists to deal with their cases? I have seen this a lot. I remember, someone had approached me, was mentioning about something having to some purely medical issue, challenge. I said, you have to see the doctor. Look, yes, I'm a doctor of management science. I have a PhD in management science. I'm not a specialist in that field. She was surprised. But perhaps the first time someone was telling her that, making that type of reference to her. But yeah, we look. I may be a guru. I may be a swami. I may have a PhD in management science. It doesn't mean that I'm a psychosurgeon. It doesn't mean that I have the science of operating the brain. You have a brain problem, you should see a psychosurgeon. Oh yeah. We should accept humility and let people know that we are not master of all trades. And we should not try to be jack of all trades. At least we should focus on what Prabhupada has given to us, devotional service to Lord Krishna. This would enable emancipation from the clutches of this incarceration, this circumscription. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Mitunamcha. Eating, sleeping, running around, fearing, fighting. Tell me, look, this planet is by default a planet of fighting. It's mentioned in the Sastra. This is Mrityu-loka, the planet of death. Where we are living, we think we are enjoying, but this is the planet of death. And therefore, we should be conscientious about the very essence of our being, which is Krishna Prema Pumato Maha, to develop pure love for Krishna. So whatever we are doing, we should incorporate some sadhana in our lives. Otherwise, we cannot be sustainably happy. We cannot, I repeat, whatever we are doing, we should incorporate sadhana, Krishna sadhana bhakti in our lives. Otherwise, we cannot be sustainably happy. We may be happy, but the happiness is just transitory. And therefore, it is important for us to understand the emphasis proper laid in this very purport is authority. Authority. We should consult authorities. We should be intelligent like the demigods who had some fear, some apprehension, and they sought out how to deal with that. They were solaced by the instructions of their authority, Lord Brahma. We also could be confused like the demigods at some point in time. Or we already are, or we were. But we should take a lesson from the demigods that we should take shelter of authority. We should learn, we should seek solutions from our fears, from appropriate authorities. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your illuminating explanations of this verse. You mentioned that the difference between the demigods and the demons, the demigods will approach authority when in challenging situations. Now, Srila Prabhupada has a quote here. I was hoping maybe you could help reconcile if there's any, perhaps some confusion in my mind. Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna consciousness movement is for training men to be independently thoughtful. So how does independently thoughtful reconcile with, because what I find that, at least in my devotional experience, sometimes we develop this a herd mentality where we just do what the herd is doing. And we can see in our history in New Vrindavan how that herd mentality led to some deviations. So I'm wondering if you could comment on that.
Yeah, Prabhupada wants us to be, not to become like zombies. Zombie is somebody who waits until you tell him, hey, left, right, left, right. They don't have independent strategies on how to achieve their ultimate goal, how to achieve their goal. Someone has to tell them. Someone has to tell them to come and wake up. Hey, get up. Because they're zombies. So being independently thoughtful means you have to map out your strategies. You have to know your goal. What is your mission on this planet? What is your vision to be able to achieve that mission, that your mission statement? You see, sometimes, some of the things that Prabhupada mentioned, except we are really introspective, and if we do reflect on some of them introspectively, they are very, very deep. We may take it on a superficial level, but reflecting on this very situation is a call for a very deep reasoning. In the sense that, see, I've seen some devotees, they have this conception that, Krishna will do everything. Let's just depend on Krishna. Yeah, Krishna will do everything. In the sense that Krishna sanctions everything. Even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yes, ultimately Krishna sanctions everything. Krishna does everything. Without him, we can't really wake up from bed. In fact, without him, we can't even breathe. This air, oxygen we are breathing is free. If we have to pay, even the billionaires, where they'll find it difficult to buy the oxygen for themselves and the extended families. It is free. And so, I've had Prabhupada also in one of his conversations, he said, we should make our plans. In other words, we should develop strategies to be able to achieve our goals. But we should develop our plans and hang it on Krishna like a garland. Let Krishna be the final verdict, give the final verdict. And so we say, this is my thought. And in fact, we hear Prabhupada also mentions how, and sometimes you say this and then they say, why are you talking like that? Sometimes people ask me, so are you coming to our temple? Yeah. I said, I plan to come such and such a date if Krishna permits. These are the very words of Prabhupada. He said, we should say, if Krishna permits. Because if Krishna does not permit you, you may have your plans, elaborate plans. You may have so much expertise in different strategies on how to achieve your goals. But except we recline on Krishna, we will not have that special empowerment to be able to execute those plans. So yet, we should think objectively. That is the meaning. We should be objective thinkers. We should think out, we should develop strategies to be able to meet our goals. We do have strategies in our lives that without even, we may not even know that these are actually strategic plans. For instance, we put our alarm to wake up at 3 o'clock or to wake up whatever time we want to wake up. This is an immediate attention. We want to wake up, we are planning how to wake up tomorrow. Now, what we want to achieve in 5 years' time, we also have a plan for that. Like we have some parents, they plan for their children. Okay, you go to college. When you finish from college, I want you to go do a master's. I want you to finish that. You work for 1 year, and then marriage. They plan. So that is independent thinking. But that independent thinking has to be there. Otherwise, if we say, Krishna is going to come down and, give us our blueprint, it doesn't work like that. Even with the case of Arjuna, Krishna was just his charioteer. But then, Krishna being a charioteer, Arjuna has to develop the strategies on how to throw his arrows, how to string his arrows. Krishna doesn't have to think for him. Now, of course, even that objective thinking, that independent thinking, Krishna inspires us. I'll give you an example. Krishna and his boyfriends, they were in the groups. And all of a sudden, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur documented this. All of a sudden, Krishna told Subal, hey Subal, Saka Subal, go and bring the Rani right now, just now. And it's like asking a hen or a chicken to pass stool without urine, without water. But the hen or the chicken passes stool and urine together. That is exactly what Krishna told Subal to do. It's as difficult as that. But then Subal didn't say, hey, Krishna, what is this? What are you talking about? You know this is not possible now. No. He didn't ask back like that. He didn't clap back like that. He just zooms out. He has to develop his strategies on how to execute Krishna's instructions. This is independent thinking. As soon as you have faith in Lord Krishna, you have faith in the spiritual master, he gives you an instruction, and you have to develop the strategy, think independently on how to implement this with your own details. The details is what you think out objectively. But it's Krishna, because you have faith in the words of Krishna, or you have faith in the words of the spiritual master, that instruction is also encapsulated with empowerment. And that is how Subal was able to do the apparently impossible. He did it. He went in and got Radharani out. One could say, how? Vishwanath Chakravarti detailed it. That's a long detail. But he did it. He taught independently, objectively, to generate the strategies on how to execute that instruction. Each time we have an instruction to execute, each time we have to do some things, that it involves independent thinking to be able to generate our objectives. How to do that. Does it make sense?
So when it says independent thinking, you're saying independent from what? Independent, not necessarily from, obviously not from the goal, right?
Independent thinking means that we are not asking the Lord to think for us and give us the details on how to execute that instruction. Say, as Krishna gave Subal an instruction, he had to think independently. He didn't have to go and ask Krishna, tell me. You're the magician. You tell me how to do this. You are full of mystic powers. You tell me how to do this. No. He taught out the strategies independently, by himself. When we have to do things by ourselves, that is independent thinking. But the point is that because we are trying to implement the instructions of the spiritual master, or the instructions of the authorities, instructions of Lord Krishna, that so-called independence manifests wonderful results. And the point about independent thinking is that we don't come and tell the spiritual master, hey, you tell me to do this. Can you tell me the details? Can you tell me details how to go about that? Yeah. The details is up to the person who is receiving instructions. And if we are focused on, if we have faith in the process, we have faith in the authorities, we have faith in the spiritual master or Krishna, that instruction, we have to understand, is also encapsulated with empowerment. And so our so-called independent thinking is also as a result of the empowerment in that instruction. So that gives us the impetus to be able to think out ways on how to, address that very issue. Does it make some sense? All right, we have to stop there. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Krishna.